The fire of the altars had gone cold. Once Rome's temples had never slept. Incense rose for Jupiter, Mars, Venus, smoke and song drifting above the marble city like a promise of eternity. But now, the priests stood before empty halls. The statues stared with lifeless eyes. The sacrifices meant nothing. Across the empire, something was changing. The same empire that had crucified a poor Jewish preacher was now beginning to whisper his name in prayer. The soldiers who once carried the eagle now carved crosses into their shields. How did it happen? How did the world's mightiest empire, an empire of legions, blood, and gods, bow before the faith of the condemned? This is the story of how Rome became Christian and why it had to. The age of gods and blood. Rome's faith of power. For centuries, Rome's religion was a mirror of its empire, practical, political, and ruthless. Every act of life had its god. Janus for beginnings, Juno for marriage, Mars for war, Jupiter, king of the skies, ruler of them all. To be Roman was to perform, not to believe, but to obey. Rituals, sacrifices, festivals. Faith was duty, and duty served the state. When Rome conquered a new land, it absorbed its gods too. Egyptian, Persian, Greek. Foreign deities filled the empire's temples until Rome became a spiritual marketplace. But beneath the marble and gold, something was cracking. A world without meaning. By the 1st century, Rome's gods had become politics. The emperors themselves claimed divinity. Augustus, Nero, Caligula. Men worshipped as living gods. Faith was no longer comfort, it was control. And yet, even as the empire reached its peak, its people were restless. The old gods demanded offerings but gave no peace. They could win wars but not heal hearts. The more powerful Rome became, the more empty it felt. Its temples were full, its souls hollow. The cross in the shadows. The birth of a forbidden faith. In the dusty provinces of Judea, far from the marble palaces of Rome, a man was executed, a carpenter's son, nailed to a cross, abandoned by but a handful. To Rome, he was nothing, another rebel in an endless list of rebels. But his followers refused to let the story die. They claimed he had risen. They said he was not just a man, but the Son of God. They carried that message from one city to another, from homes to marketplaces, through whispers and letters. Love your enemies. The last shall be first. Blessed are the persecuted. It was a message utterly alien to Rome, a world built on pride, hierarchy, and domination. And that was exactly why it spread. The empire strikes back. Rome tolerated many gods, but not this one. This faith refused to worship the emperor. It refused to kneel before power. It claimed there was a kingdom greater than Rome itself. To the Senate, that was treason. So the persecutions began. Christians were burned alive in Nero's gardens, their bodies lighting the night. They were thrown to lions in the Colosseum, crucified on roadsides, hunted in the streets. But every drop of blood became a seed. Where fear should have broken them, it bound them. The more Rome tried to destroy the Christians, the more the empire began to question its own gods. The turning of the tide. A faith that would not die. By the 2nd century, Christianity was everywhere, among slaves, soldiers, merchants, even noblewomen. It offered what the empire could not: equality, purpose, forgiveness. In the eyes of Christ, there were no masters or slaves, no men or women, no Roman or barbarian, but only souls. For a world built on hierarchy, that was revolution. And Rome's leaders felt it. The emperors came and went, Decius, Diocletian, each ordering fresh persecutions, each failing. You cannot kill an idea that promises eternal life. By the early 300s, Christianity had become too large to erase. The empire faced a choice: destroy it completely or embrace it.
Constantine and the Cross. The battle that changed the world. In 312 AD, two generals fought for control of Rome, Maxentius and Constantine. Their armies faced each other near the Milvian Bridge. The night before battle, Constantine looked to the sky and saw something strange: a cross of light and the words, "In this sign, conquer." Whether vision or imagination, it changed him forever. He ordered his soldiers to paint crosses on their shields, and when the sun rose, he marched under the symbol of the faith once hunted by his own empire. By nightfall, Maxentius was dead. Constantine had won. The emperor who ended the gods. The next year, Constantine issued the Edict of Milan, ending 3 centuries of persecution and granting Christians freedom to worship. Temples to Jupiter and Mars still stood, but their altars were quiet. The cross, once the mark of shame, became the emblem of victory. Rome had turned its face to a new god, and the world would never be the same. But Constantine's conversion was not only faith, it was politics. He saw in Christianity something Rome had lost: unity. A single God, a single truth, a single empire. For centuries, Rome had ruled by conquest. Now, it would rule by creed. The triumph of the cross. The empire baptized. Under Constantine, Christianity moved from catacombs to palaces. Churches rose where temples fell. Bishops replaced priests, and a new alliance was forged between crown and altar. The faith of the persecuted became the faith of the emperor. It was victory, but also transformation. The same empire that had crucified Christ now marched beneath his symbol. The religion that preached humility now wore purple robes. Power had found a new mask. But even so, something real endured. Amid politics and ceremony, millions found meaning in the message that had survived fire, beasts, and blade. The fall of the old gods. As Christianity spread, the old gods of Rome faded into myth. Temples to Venus and Apollo were stripped of gold. Their statues melted into coin. The Oracle of Delphi went silent. Even the Vestal Virgins, the priestesses of the eternal flame, were disbanded. When Emperor Theodosius outlawed pagan worship in 391 AD, the transformation was complete. Rome was now a Christian empire. The temples that had stood for 1,000 years were abandoned to dust, and on their ruins rose crosses. The empire of faith. The new Rome. Christianity didn't just survive Rome, it became Rome. The empire split west and east, but its new religion bound it tighter than its legions ever had. In Constantinople, the great cathedrals shone brighter than the old temples. In the west, bishops guided cities when generals failed. The empire's sword was dull. Its faith was sharp. Rome no longer conquered with armies. It conquered with words. And yet, beneath the hymns and mosaics, the same old hunger remained. Power still corrupted. Ambition still ruled. The empire had changed its gods, but not its nature. It crucified Christ once with nails, now it crucified his teachings with politics. Still, the faith endured, reshaped, debated, reformed, carried by the same people who had once been slaves, rebels, and exiles. Because faith, unlike empire, could live anywhere. In palaces or prisons, in hearts or catacombs. In the end, Rome did not fall to the barbarians. It fell to its own emptiness. But before it died, it found something greater than itself. The eagle gave way to the cross, the sword to the word, the empire of earth to the kingdom of heaven. It began with persecution and ended with prayer. From blood, belief was born. Perhaps Rome became Christian not because it chose to, but because the world it built was powerful enough to conquer everything except the human need for hope. Empires rise on fear. Faith rises on love. And in the end, only one survives.